Breaks my heart.
They were just playing in their own backyard until they vanished into the mist. On the morning of May 2nd, 2025, 6-year-old Lilly and her 4-year-old brother Jack Sullivan disappeared from their isolated trailer home on Gairloch Road, Nova Scotia. What began as a frantic community search quickly morphed into something far more disturbing, a case riddled with contradictions, questionable investigative choices, and a series of red flags pointing squarely at the very people who should have protected these children. Here's the full story of every shocking detail, from new evidence uncovered to RCMP actions that raise more questions than answers, and parental behaviors that scream deception. At 8 a.m. on May 2nd, 2025, Malia Brooks Murray awoke in a small trailer nestled among pines and birch, her 2 oldest children crying and laughing in the next room. She and her partner, 33-year-old Daniel Martel, had moved here 2 years earlier, leaving behind the Sipek and Caddick First Nation community where Malia was raised. Their new home was surrounded by dense forest, a fenced yard, and no cell service, yet the children seemed safe until morning they weren't. Daniel later told officers he first noticed something was wrong around 9:40 a.m., when the laughter abruptly stopped. According to his repeatedly rehearsed statement, he leapt from bed, searched the trailer's cramped kitchen and living area, then discovered the sliding glass door slightly ajar. In a house under 800 square feet, that door, known for its noisy, creaky track, should have clanged like an alarm, yet neither adult heard it open. Neither heard the children's footsteps fade. All they heard was silence. By 10 a.m., Malia was on the phone with 911, describing how her go-lucky, chatty kids had simply walked away. Within minutes, the RCMP arrived, establishing a command post. Within hours, 160 volunteers fanned out across mossy bogs and muddy creek beds. For K-9 units scoured the underbrush, drones zipped overhead and helicopters circled through the mist. Despite ideal scent conditions, the dogs found only 2 small boot prints 10 feet from the back porch. No toys, no backpacks, no broken twigs, no sign of where the children went. From the outset, Daniel's press conference demeanor felt rehearsed. In every televised interview, his phrasing and pauses matched precisely. We woke up, went to check, and they were gone, as if someone had played back a scripted audio clip. When asked to take a polygraph, he eagerly agreed, but only if an external examiner was flown in from outside Canada. "I want to clear it up for everyone," he said. Yet polygraphs are notoriously unreliable and already available through the RCMP. Insisting on an outside examiner looked less like transparency and more like a stall tactic. Delay scrutiny, control the timeline, let public attention wane. Malia, by contrast, spoke in fractured sentences and refused to use I, instead framing every action as we. At one moment, she claimed Lily had been kept homesick for 2 days. The next, she said the kids only missed school on Thursday and Friday. No medical records, pharmacy receipts, or witness statements corroborated her version. In cases of genuine grief, parents typically express raw, unfiltered emotion and cling to every scrap of hope. Here, the adults composed. Controlled narratives felt more like performances designed to deflect suspicion. Investigators quickly noticed a glaring discrepancy. While Lilly and Jack were reported to have vanished on May 2nd, school bus records and neighbor accounts revealed neither child had been seen since April 29th. On April 30th and May 1st, not a single neighbor reported seeing them at play, and Brian Ward, their bus driver, confirmed the last sighting was Tuesday morning, April 29th. Yet on Friday, the parents claimed the trailer echoed with their laughter. When questioned, Daniel insisted the children arrived home sick on Monday and stayed inside. But investigators found no clinic visits, no pharmacy records, no phone calls to the pediatrician. Nothing to support that claim. Those unaccounted 48 to 72 hours, now dubbed the gap days, became a focal point. Did the disappearance truly begin on May 2nd, or had something happened earlier that the adults were concealing? In a disappearance built on tiny clues, item descriptions are everything. Initially, the parents reported Jack dressed only in a pull-up diaper and dinosaur print boots, and Lily carrying her white backpack patterned with red strawberries. Yet in later interviews, those details shifted. Jack was fully dressed in brown clothes, and the backpack's fate changed from found near the home to possibly left in the woods. Then, an audio recording emerged in which Malia questioned whether Lily's beloved pink blanket was in the trailer, contradicting Daniel's earlier confident claim it had been recovered. These inconsistent stories about simple items, a child's shoes, a backpack, a blanket, are classic markers of deception. In genuine missing persons cases, parents recall every detail with painful clarity. Here, their shifting accounts unraveled trust at every turn. The sliding glass door was perhaps the most chilling detail. Both parents insisted the door makes no sound when opened, despite it being the very track Daniel had complained about installing years earlier. They also said that Lilly and Jack, notorious for leaving the door wide open, somehow closed it silently behind them as they crept out. In a trailer barely 25 feet long, any movement near that door would have echoed to the metal walls. The claim that two small children could open, step through, and close such a door without waking two adults strained credulity, and suggests deliberate staging. After 7 days of exhaustive searching, drones, helicopters, dogs, underwater teams, the RCMP abruptly suspended the wide area search for 10 days. No public rationale was offered. Then, without fresh tips or a shred of new evidence, officers resumed focus exclusively on the same ground already cleared, the yard perimeter and a 10-foot radius around that lone pair of boot prints. In any investigation, allocation, and withdrawal of resources speak volumes. To abandon a massive search, then quietly return to previously combed areas, hinted at internal doubts about the parents' timeline, and the possibility that something crucial had been overlooked. Perhaps the starkest indication of law enforcement skepticism came when the RCMP asked local residents for private camera footage dating back 5 days before May 2nd. Standard procedure is to review footage only from the reported disappearance date. By soliciting recordings from April 27th onward, investigators signaled they doubted the official day zero, suggesting events preceding May 2nd were relevant and that the parents' narrative had cracks requiring early-stage forensic excavation. In routine missing children cases, the RCMP's Major Crimes Unit typically stays on the sidelines until a clear abduction or foul play emerges. Here, homicide detectives were engaged by May 3rd, just 24 hours after the disappearance. Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon stunned the public when he announced, "Major Crimes has been the lead on this since day 2. Such rapid escalation is reserved for cases screaming of violence from the outset." This decision underscored investigators' unease with the story told by those closest to the children. Despite ideal scent tracking conditions, cool, moist forest floor, K9 teams found no trace beyond the initial boot prints. Search dogs trained to follow fresh or decaying human scent came up empty. Searchers described it as one of the most perplexing sights they'd ever encountered. Consider how rarely such a zero-scent outcome occurs. Even in cases where victims are carried away in vehicles, dogs often pick up residual traces. Here, nothing. No footprints beyond 10 feet. No broken branches. No drag marks. Gairloch Road is home to fewer than 100 people, many interrelated for generations. Neighbors told reporters they weren't even aware children lived in the trailer, despite frequent sightings of unfamiliar vehicles and visitors at odd hours. Rumors of drug paraphernalia, pipes and cut-down bottles, surfaced, though no formal charges were disclosed. Child Protective Services had reportedly removed Malia's youngest daughter, Meadow, temporarily. These details paint a picture of an unstable household environment, one that might motivate concealment or worse. Online, the case exploded. Hashtags like hashtag Find Lilly and Jack trended on X. TikTok summaries accumulated millions of views, and armchair detectives dissected every element. Under Nova Scotia's Cyber Protection Act, lawyers warned of civil consequences for spreading rumors. The RCMP appealed for verified tips only, yet investigators themselves employed AI-driven clustering of over 1,200 calls, ground-penetrating radar near an old fishing cabin, and undercover outreach to transit communities along nearby Route 246, demonstrating just how deep official doubt ran. Despite Malia's public pleas, "It would be nice if everyone could be alerted," she said. No Amber Alert was issued. Community leaders, including Sipek and Caddick Elder Marie Bernard, criticized the province. If these were non-Indigenous children, there would have been an alert instantly. Over 20,000 people signed petitions demanding reform. Authorities cited lack of clear evidence of abduction, but the omission further fueled suspicions that the parents' timeline didn't hold up under scrutiny. Veteran investigators and criminologists weighed in. Michelle Genies, former family crimes detective, said a 48-hour blackout before the reported disappearance is unheard of. Even in rural areas, someone would have glimpsed the children. Michael Arnfield, Western University criminologist, stated, "This case violates every pattern in hundreds of missing children investigations. It went in the wrong direction too early, and key leads were lost." Glenn Brown, retired RCMP dog handler, added, "I can't believe 2 small kids could vanish without a trace. I'd have boots in the mud, broken sticks. Something. Here? Nothing." In the weeks that followed, the region wore its grief openly. A makeshift memorial, pink ribbons, teddy bears, grew near the RCMP detachment. The bus stop bench where Lilly and Jack once sat remained empty, their name tags still taped above the seats. Every school bus run, Brian Ward fielded questions. Did they find them? Children asked each afternoon. "Not yet," he replied. Toys lay scattered in the woods. Drawings hung on the trailer walls. Silent reminders of lives abruptly paused. This case transcends a simple missing persons mystery. It raises profound questions about trust, duty, and the lengths to which people will go to keep secrets buried. The red flags rehearse parental statements, sleepless gap days, contradictory details about clothing and personal items, the silent sliding door, staggering search anomalies, early homicide unit involvement, requests for pre-disappearance surveillance, all converge to form a portrait of deception. Whether Daniel and Malia's actions stem from neglect, a cover-up of an accidental tragedy, or something far darker remains to be seen. But one truth is undeniable. The greatest threat to finding Lilly and Jack may not be the dark woods they vanished into, but the silence and deception emanating from the trailer where they were last seen. As the RCMP continues to comb digital records, re-interview persons of interest, and analyze every fragment of evidence, the world watches and waits. Will new leads emerge in the shadows of those gap days? Will the pink blanket reappear? Will that sliding door track finally tell the tale it muffled that morning? One thing is certain. The search for Lilly and Jack Sullivan demands more than drones and dog teams. It requires piercing the veil of deception, demanding accountability from those who deceived us all, and refusing to let 2 children's disappearance become just another statistic. The world will not forget Lilly and Jack, and neither should we.